meeting. Let me announce this part of our meeting is open now for the election of officers for our board. So at this time, I'm going to pass this gavel to Dr. Williams, and he will entertain this portion for the board to elect a chairperson of the board.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
In a moment, I will call for nominations for the office of the chair of the Weldon City Board of Education. As a reminder, nominations do not require a second. If more than one person is nominated, the board will vote on the nominees in order of nomination. The first person to receive a majority vote of the board members present is elected chair. Are there any nominations for the office of board chair?
Yes. I'd like to nominate Ms. Kimberly Robinson.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Mr. James Tank Williams.
Doesn't require. Any other nominations? If not, nominations for the board, the office of board chair are closed at this time. At this time, we will go in order of the nomination. The first name that was listed is Ms. Kimberly Robinson as board chair. Those in favor of Ms. Kimberly Robinson, please say aye.
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 For the sake of clarity, can you please raise your hand? Thank you. Those in favor of Mr. James Tank Williams as board chair, please make it.
Dr. Williams, and take the ayes and the noes.
All right, sorry. All those that's not in favor of Ms. Kimberly Robinson, please say no.
No.
I mean, raise your hand so we can get you. Thank you, sir. Now, those in favor of Mr. James Tank Williams as board chair, please raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those not in favor of Mr. James Tank Williams as board chair, please say no and raise your hands. No. I'd like to say at this time, Mr. James Tank Williams has been nominated 4-3 vote as board chair. I will now pass the gavel to Mr. James Tank Williams as board chair, and congratulations, sir.
No, come over here. What's your name?
Need some help moving.
Sure. Congratulations, Mr. Williams. Thanks, right.
Okay, at this time, we'll have selection of a vice chair. Nominations are in order for the office of vice chair. As a reminder, nominations do not require second. Are there any nominations?
Yes. I would like to nominate Tiffany Hale for vice chair.
Are there any others? Can I get a motion for the nomination to be closed on said name?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Just for that.
It's not necessary, but it's also
Okay.
fine.
Motion.
He says not
He says not
necessary.
Okay, since we only have one nominee, Ms. Tiffany Hale, Ms. Tiffany Hale will serve as the vice chair. Congratulations.
No, we
Ms.
have to
Hale.
vote.
Mr. Chair, split paper vote on the one nominee.
We have to vote.
All in favor, let it be known by your raising of your right hand. All opposed? Unanimous decision. Ms. Tiffany Hill will be the vice chair. Okay, so now we'll go on with our agenda. Oh, we'll start with the mission statement.
The mission of the Wells City School District is to create and maintain a highly effective education system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong.
Thank you for that. At this time, I ask that you look over the agenda, review, and approve it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
if I may add something to the agenda,
Okay,
that is, EC positions, EC teacher positions, and also, instructional facilitators, district facilitators.
So you wanna add that, Mr. Williams, right? Where we adding that?
that's why I'm getting ready to see you down the best place to put it.
Okay.
Um. Let's place it at. You may do a 10A. For EC positions. And then 10B, instruction facilitators,
So after the break.
no, just before the break. Okay, 10 for reports, and then we do a 10B.
Mine say.
I'm looking at this agenda, which one is that?
We got this one. This one.
Okay, let me get that.
I'm looking for it. I know the 10 is break. Yeah, our 10 is break over here.
Okay, my same thing, and different agenda that I have.
Can it just go under 9A? Since it's already EC there.
Just a minute, let's see this. But then we'll work out on that. Okay. Okay, if we. Y'all have this agenda?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
All right, let's go to just before the break and put it in as 9B.
9B.
Can it go with 9A since it's already EC and pre-K program?
Okay, what now?
Can it go along with, right under 9A, it says EC and pre-K program? Can we just add it there? Because 9C is child, 9B is child nutrition.
Okay, then let's put that there. And what are we putting there?
But that's their report, that's the report.
And you ask your questions on the. That would be the ideal time to ask while they're doing the report, right?
So,
I'm just saying.
no, let's go back and put it at 10A. 10A.
When you say TNA is gonna be what?
10A would be EC positions. And then 10B would be instructional facilitator. All right,
Board members, under your board meeting agenda policies, since these are additions to the agenda, there will need to be a motion and a second, and then a majority vote. I understand Ms. Hale made the motion, and now there needs to be a second and then a vote.
so we need a motion after that. Could I get a motion for the changes to the agenda?
We're not done with it.
Oh, you got another one?
Yes, with the consent, under consent agenda, we just received that tonight.
And
And
I
I don't think-
apologize, so these would be two separate, so there's essentially a motion on the table from Ms. Hale, which requires a second for her agenda items, and then if there are additions from any other member, that would be a separate motion.
Okay, so I second this here.
Okay, it's been motion and proper second that we add EC position and instruction facilitators to the agenda as 10A and 10B. And was seconded by Ms. Barry Robinson. Are there any questions? All in favor? Raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now Ms. Kim Robinson, you want to what?
On the consent agenda, number 1. Partnership with Shawan University, we just received that tonight. We have not had time to read that thoroughly and with fidelity.
Wishes of the board?
I agree.
I wish to remove from the agenda for tonight.
That was my motion. Second.
Okay, it's been motion proper second, been motion by Ms. Kim Robinson, second by Ms. Hale. That the consent agenda be removed from the agenda. Are there any questions? No questions, all in favor? Yes. Raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, let the record indicate that the consent agenda has been removed. And I got a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It's been motion proper second, been motion by Ms. Hale and second by Ms. Beard Robinson to approve the agenda as changes recommended. Are there any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Let the record indicate that the agenda has been approved. Okay, at this time, we'll want to approve the minutes of our open session.
There needs to be a correction to the minutes.
Okay, correction.
Brian Hopkins' name needs to be spelled correctly. With that being said, I move that the minutes
be approved as correct.
It's been moved by Ms. Kim Robinson and second by Ms. Tanya Bear Robinson that the minutes be approved with this, with the recommendation that Mr. Brian Hopkins' name be spelled correctly. Are there any other concerns? Okay, then, all in favor of the motion? Raise your hand, right hand. All opposed? That the motion show that the minutes have been approved with the recommended correction. At this time, we'll have presentation, Mr. Stephen.
Greetings, Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Superintendent and community. Good evening. Tonight, we have a number of recognitions to bring to you from Charger Nation. First, we want to acknowledge our staff from Child Nutrition who have perfect attendance during the quarter of the month of October through December. They are highlighted, their pictures on Facebook and the website as well. They're quite proud of their accomplishment to be able to have perfect attendance. And they're one of the groups of individuals or staff members rather that don't always get looked at like our teachers do, which of course, I think all of our folks should be looked at, but we always want to make sure any of our direct service folk, our janitorial staff, our child nutrition staff, our bus drivers, that those folks also receive the recognition that they are due because they do a great service for our, not just our students, but our community as a whole, because you keep the kids fed and feeling good, everybody's gonna be happy at home. So those people are Keandra Arrington Perfect and Tanisha Hegborn, Helen Edmonds, Micaiah Gray, and Arquez Artis. Those are our perfect attendance for the quarter of October to December. Next, I'd like to bring to you our students of the month. First is this student is Tyreek Brooks from Weldon High School. Tyreek is an 11th grader. He's self-motivated. He's always willing to go the extra mile and will speak up for his peers for equity. As a side note, that's what we want all of our children to be able to do, to grow into adults who are able to speak truth to power and be able to speak equity as it needs to be. Because it's just not just this concept that somewhere it needs to be who we are in the fabric of our lives. So that is a great quality. He is cooperative and does not mind volunteering to help for a good cause. And he's a member of the National Honor Society. He's junior class president and on the principals list for quarter one. We recognize Mr. Tyreek Brooks. Come on up. Were you expecting that? And here, so we got this recognition, we got Woodward Chick-fil-A and got the yard time for you as well, so you can show that Charger pride. Come on up, Mr. Board Chair, Mr. Superintendent, get a picture. We can memorialize. Oh, yeah, I just will do this right now just because it's kind of, yeah. Get your range on the camera.
Oh,
Thank you.
I have a question. Can I go sit there with my friend?
Come on.
That's what you had,
And I'll send that to you. Our next student of the month is from Arbery, or early college, Kalia Copeland. Her principal and counselor are very impressed at how much she's grown up and matured over the last year and a half. She's become a highly focused student who's on top of her assignments, both in high school and college classes, and make sure that she pushes herself to do her best. She's improved her grades and her attendance and is a shining example of the self-drive it takes to do well at the Roanoke Valley Early College. It's Kalia Copeland. Come on up. Very well. Great, thank you. This next student knows that they're being called for Student of the Month because my colleague, Dr. Robinson, made sure she alerted everyone in the hallway what was going on. So, Mr. Cottrell Bullock is an energetic, intelligent, and courteous young man. He enjoys helping his peers with assignments and assisting them in the classroom, and he's a true definition of a student leader. He assists Mr. Odom and Ms. James with many tasks in the classroom, and Mr. Odom particularly leans on him to help with the many endeavors that they run in the classroom. He runs errands, receives papers from the office, and assists Mr. Odom with after-school tutoring snacks. And more importantly, he is Mr. Odom's constant companion. He truly enjoys reminding Mr. Odom about meetings, and often Mr. Odom forgets and must be reminded. He is the student of the year in Mr. Odom's class, or student of the month. All right. Was it a surprise before you got here? Look, we got a snack for you. Our next recognition is our Employee of the Month. This employee does so many things for our families, our students, our teachers, and other support staff that we have. And so often this employee's work does not get noticed because it's not in the limelight. And as well, most of the time it should not be. She does a job which can be taxing on very many people. And it's a tough line of work. We need more people like her. Been very impressed, along with her supervisor as well and her colleagues, about her dedication to her families that she supports and serves into this community and to the school system as a whole. That is none other than Miss April Whitaker. She is shared amongst all the schools, by the way. So if you recognize her, just don't think she's just yours. She's also some others as well. Congratulations. And our last person of the month recognition is a parent of the month. This parent has 2 students at this high school here, stops by 1 to 2 days a week, mainly 2 days a week. In the morning, I've seen this parent in the morning time as well, supporting his children here, also supporting the teachers and the staff, is eager to support them in any way as possible, and is very dedicated. So often we have this trope that males aren't involved with their children as much, but this is the rule, not the exception. This is our fathers are involved in our families, and his dedication shows every week. And not only does the staff see it here, but the principal as well. And for that, we'd like to recognize Mr. Reggie Ponton as the parent of the month.
Right now.
All right, so you know some of the board members. Okay. Oh, and for all of you yard sign holders, I'll bring you your stakes there over there in just a second. Next recognition, could we have Melody Boyd, please? So as a part of the North Carolina Association of School Business Officers, education and professional training programs are offered to help bring certification and also notification within the craft of school business officers through courses and certificate completions. And there are 3 levels of certificates. There's a specialist, there is the manager, and then there is the director. And right now you have completed the management series, and NC ASBO has awarded, based on you earning it, Ms. Melody Boyd with the certification as a manager, school business officer.
All right.
I have Dr. Wendy Carpenter come up with this next intro.
Good evening, Board Chair, Vice Chair, Superintendent, staff, and community members. Dear Superintendent Williams, greetings from the Department of Public Instruction. I am pleased to offer my congratulations to you and your entire district for your school's performance during the 2021-2022 school year. I'm presenting awards for achieving and exceeding expected academic growth under North Carolina's accountability system, which, as you know, was paused during the 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021 school years. Whether for academic growth or graduation rate, these certificates represent an impressive amount of hard work by students and educators. However you choose to distribute and celebrate these awards, please share the appreciation and congratulations from the entire Department of Public Instruction and the State Board of Education. Sincerely, Catherine Truitt, State Superintendent of Public Instruction, and Eric C. Davis, Chairman of the State Board of Education. Mr. Stevens will now present the awards to the schools. Will all the principals please come forward?
Receiving the award for achieving goals expected academic progress for the 21-22 school year at Roanoke Valley Early College, Mr. Pullen. Sure. Also, Mr. Pullen is receiving an award for outstanding graduation rate of 100%. Sure. We have Weldon STEM High School Career Academies receiving expected academic progress for 21-22 school year to Principal Brian Hopkins. And for Weldon Middle School for exceeding expected academic growth for 2021-22 school year, Ms. Angela Tyler. And Dr. Carpenter, on behalf of Weldon Elementary Global Academy, she's accepting the award for expected growth for 21-22 school year. Congratulations. Yeah, those are gonna be in there. Thank you. And that concludes this evening's recognitions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. At this time, we have a report coming from the superintendent.
Good evening to board chair, vice chair, board members, board clerk, attorney to the board, executive cabinet members, and all in attendance and the public. Today, I want to begin with saying how grateful I am for having completed my first 100 days as superintendent of Weldon City Schools. Actually, my 100th day was prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, but after our last board meeting. I want to say thank you to the Board of Education, the members who are policymakers and supporters of the Weldon City School District. I just want to pause for a moment and applause, give a round of applause to our board members for your support. Can you join me, please? When I arrived here at Weldon City Schools, I shared with the Board of Education members the things that I, as an outsider, saw that needed attention and assistance, and therefore shared that I, along with my exec staff, would work together to strive to correct and redirect so that we could get back on track where we all could be proud of our beloved Weldon City Schools Charger Nation. I indicated that I would meet with the board members individually to review my entry plan of our Strive for 55 campaign. I also would meet with senior staff administrators to identify and analyze academic data and prioritize opportunities for district improvement. We would work on a 5-year strategic plan with measurable goals and outcomes that we are yet working on and we'll share with the board in the coming month. Would work on the establishing relationship with internal and external stakeholders. Establish a positive board, superintendent board relationship. Foster a collaborative relationship with the Board of County Commissioners, County Manager, Weldon City Commissioners and Mayor, and community supporters. Establish a positive presence in the community. Yes, I've relocated to the Weldon City Schools attendance zone, so I am truly one of you. Some of the work that my team and I have worked toward to ensure that teachers should be teaching, what students should be learning, and what students will be tested on. We have identified the core curriculum in the priority areas in English, math, and science at all levels. Created curriculum guides in core areas at all grade levels. We've created pacing guides in core areas and participate in professional learning teams to guide teaching and learning. We have walked through sessions to examine and inspect what we expect. We provide a variety of professional development options for staff on early release days to keep everyone up to date on the strategies in which we're leading toward. We've also hired some of the best building administrators for this season of Weldon City Schools, in which I am thankful for you, the Board of Education, for your approval and support in that effort. We have a district MTSS team in place. We have introduced a social and emotional learning professional development to all staff. Secured funding for an SRO at Weldon Elementary School for additional school safety and been awarded a NCDPI needs school construction grant of $50 million for our new 612 school in the very near future. So in my very first 100 days, we've been busy fulfilling the expectation of our board to raise the standards of our students' learning ability. Yes, we have work to do. Yes, there is more work to be done. But yes, we are working diligently and hard. Yes, we may have a misstep here and there, but at the same time, we'll back up and repunt to get back on track. I just want you to know that as I share a little bit more of a report today than I normally would, only because I've concluded my first 100 days with Weldon City Schools, in which I'm thankful for you all to support me in this effort and to support the school's staff in this effort. And I just want to say thank you once again to the Board of Education members. I want to say thank you for your kindness and your support as we travel along the journey. I just pray that everything will get just more cohesive and tighter, that nothing will separate us from the work ahead of you and I to do here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wills, for those comments and report. At this time, from the board chair, I don't really have a report, because I didn't know I was gonna be sitting right here. But in the meantime, I'd like to say, thank you to everyone for the efforts that you put forward this year, from the administration office down to custodians, bus drivers, teachers, everyone. We just thank you so much. We don't have the money to pay you for what we know you're worth, but you haven't gone unnoticed. The hard work that you had, students haven't coming back from the pandemic. We know it's been trying times for all of them, but we thank you for hanging in there and get you some rest over the holiday break and the New Year break. Take a few days and just put Weldon City Schools on the back burner. Just let your hair down, kick off the shoes, and have a great time. But then a few days before you come back, go and get charged up, and we're gonna have another great second semester. Thank you so much. Okay, at this time we have Facilities Committee report. And there is no report from the facilities. Finance Committee report.
Not aware.
Okay, no report from there. Now we will have Curriculum and Instruction Committee report.
I yield that time to Dr. Carpenter if it's something that she needs to share. If not, we'll move on. Okay. Move on.
All right, moving on. All right, we'll have monthly financial statements by Mr. Gregory Edwards.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pleasure to be here with everyone today. First of all, I'd like to say happy holidays to everyone, one and all, and everyone should be festive in this joyful atmosphere that we're in. Chairperson, Vice Chair, Superintendent, and other board members, thank you for being here today. First of all, I'm going to look at the all PCR report. Okay. We good? Okay,
I have a question.
yes,
After reviewing this, I'm looking at the Restart Schools Fund. Tell me why that amount is that. It's in the,
that amount is still in the negative because the funds have been asked for from the DPI, but they have not been appropriated yet. Okay, we put in the paperwork to do this. We are looking at, when everything is finalized, an appropriation of around $4,427,000 and $401. Okay,
how much again?
$4,427,401 for the restart. Okay. With that being said, our budget for the calendar year or the fiscal year would be $7,115,083. Out of that, year-to-date spending and expenses has been $3,490,000, $802.11, with encumbrances, POs of $41,918.62 for the month of November, leaving a balance of $3,911, not $3,911,754.24. Okay. Now we do have another item that is in the red. and that's the RCA employees. That's another item from the state that has not dropped from their coffers yet.
That's
And we're still,
RAC or RCA.
I'm sorry, RCA. Well, it's RAC, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
So what is RAC employee?
RAC. Did I say that wrong? I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking, what is that?
That is employees. I'm trying to remember what the code is. Or PCR 95. May I get back with you on that? Or is that something you need right now?
That's fine.
May I get back with you on that? Yes, okay, thank you. And that's all in Fund 1, the state coffers. In Fund 2, which is our local coffers, we are in pretty good shape there with a beginning budget of $2,865,169.99, with year-to-date expenses being $1,058,547.66. And continued encumbrances currently for the month of $100,000, $76.35, with a remaining balance of $1,706,545.98. And the one item that is showing in the red there, that's PRC 815, that's a technology. The reason for that showing in the red, that was an encumbrance there that we're going to be moving because it was paid out of the wrong account. So that particular item was paid out of the wrong account, and we're going to be moving that to satisfy that and straighten that out.
So you're moving it from what account?
Excuse me?
You're moving it from what account?
We're still in the process of finding that out because some funds just were released from the state today. And that's where we're going to be initiating that fund transfer. But those funds did come down before I left our office today to satisfy that. Any other questions or?
Athletics. Is that where, the things that we had, that was supposed to be ordered last year? Are those things
The
coming out?
encumbrances or the expenses?
The balance that we have, is that?
The
is that
92,000?
Is that the balance we have after those things have been deducted,
Correct.
or? So they have been ordered and.
Correct. Correct.
Are they back yet?
I'm sorry.
Things that we ordered, are they back yet?
That would be something I do not have information on right now because even the $50,000, because it's a PO, those items have been ordered. They may not have been received yet as of yet.
I will chime in and say that I was at the high school a couple of days ago, and I did see racks for hurdles.
Okay,
Some of those things, they are coming in slowly, but they are coming in.
gotcha, okay, thank you.
And that concludes Fund 2. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
So you telling me every purchase order that was submitted to central office for athletics, equipment, uniforms, etc., purchase orders have been processed?
For the month of November, yes, sir.
I'm talking about for even from what this board approved from August up until now. Purchase orders have been generated.
Yes, sir. Now, like I said, this only pertains to the month of November.
I got
As
you
far-
saying-
as far
saying
as-
November, but can you speak to October, September? I know you were not in the position. I'm asking, are you aware if those purchase orders have been generated or not?
I'm not aware of it at this particular time, but that's something that I can't get that information for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me write that down, please.
And when you look at that, Mr. Edwards,
Yes, sir.
when the information was submitted to central office from the athletic department, and when was the purchase order actually generated?
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
all right, no problem.
Any other questions for Mr. Edwards? Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
All right. Well, I'm not quite finished yet.
Okay.
All right. Now in Fund 3, that's our federal fund. Our beginning budget of $9,283,376.71. With the year-to-date expenses of $2,487,011.21. And encumbrances, POs and so forth of $983,858.43, with a monthly balance thus far $5,985,471.07. We do have a few items here that are in the red as well. And the majority of those items are funds that have not come down from the federal government yet. The $7,045 in the preschool handicap program, like I said, it just hasn't been released from the federal government.
When do you anticipate that?
I'm sorry.
When do you anticipate it?
Dr. Robinson is doing that, and we have been in close contact. Basically, that information as far as her putting forth the information to get those funds, as well as when there will be offered to the Weldon City Schools, is still something, because there are situations where the programs have to be finalized as well as approved by the federal government and the state. So that's basically where we are right now. We're in the finalization of that. I wish I could give you a little more. Dr. Robinson would possibly be able to give you some more detail on that particular entity. All right, and the CARES Act, K-12 emergency relief, that is an encumbrance there of the $48,012 that's causing that to go in the red. Basically, that is just a PO that has to be taken care of. And then that item will show a true balance, as well as what funds will be offered into it from the government. And then the last one is $164.27. Again, that's just a PO that has not fully been realized yet, but we have to state that as monies that are out there to be utilized at this particular time. But again, these items are going to be fully funded by the federal government once the numbers and the funds have been released.
Mr. Edwards, good question.
Yes,
PRC 188, 89, 189, 195, 197. What are they?
those are PRCs that have been budgeted, but because we have no place for them yet, as far as to expenditures, we're just leaving those open for items that may come up in the future.
and 178 also, right?
Correct.
Okay.
In our Fund 4 capital outlay, majority of those instances have been just using funds that are coming in from the tax, local tax base. We're looking at a current budget of $700,329 with year-to-date expenditures of $98,764.15 and encumbrances of $63,421.09, giving a balance for November of $538,143.76. Any questions on that? Moving on to Fund 5, which is child nutrition. Fund being a beginning budget of $884,846.53 with year-to-date expenditures of $318,872.45 with encumbrances generated of $41,881.63 and giving a November balance of $524,092.45. And finally, Fund 8. That particular fund had $867,404.87 for a budget. Year-to-date expenses being $295,049.28 and encumbrances currently of $2,696.27 for a November balance of $946,290.32. Grand totals of all the funds for the balance being $21,716,210.10 with total year-to-date expenses being $7,749,046.86 with encumbrances generated of $1,233,852.39 for a November balance of $13,612,297.85. And that's the rundown on the all PCRs report. Now, moving on to our current expenses, monthly financial statement. We're looking at Fund 2 for our beginning. Our beginning balances on our revenue side was $1,178,683.43 with revenues and deposits for the month of $105,739.92, giving a year-to-date balance of $1,284,423.35. Expenditures for the month incurred $807,164.23, and a month-to-date expenditures for November of $195,559.96. Giving a year-to-date total of $1,02,724.19. With a net year result of $281,699.16. And an unobligated fund balance of $1,636,030.67. And that's out of the Fund 2 monthly statement for November. Moving over to Fund 4, capital outlay, the financial statement for November. Our beginning balance was $26,618.39. Month to date deposits from revenues, $12,906.44, giving a year to date total of $39,524.83. Expenditures for the month of November, starting $51,520.09, with a total month of expenditures being $47,244.06. Giving a month a total expenditures of $98,764.15. And for a net year result of a negative $59,239.32. And the reason why that number is negative is we have carryover POs that we have to adjust and revise. And this is for revisions to lower than expected income from taxes. But we still have an unobligated fund balance of $618,599.82. So once those POs are finalized and everything is taken care of as far as the revenue that's supposed to be generated for the year end, should take care of those negative numbers. Child Nutrition Fund 5. The monthly financial statement, we started out with a balance of $201,904.46, and revenues were generated for the month to date of $83,830.31 for November, giving a year-to-date revenue total of $280,734.77. Expenditures beginning balance was $248,055.64, with month-to-date expenditures being $70,816.81, and that would be a total expenditure for a year-to-date of $318,872.45. Giving a net result for the year of a negative $33,137.68. And the reason why that particular number is negative is USDA typically runs a month behind on when they supply their funds. So we're just catching up, so to speak. Okay. But still, we have an unobligated fund balance of $296,402.14. And our local expense fund, which is Fund 8, the financial statement for November. We started with a balance of $111,983.94. We took in deposits of $39,576.78 to give a year-end balance of $151,560.72. Expenditures beginning of the month were $186,346.67, with a month total of expenditures of $77,976.17, giving the month's expenditure total of $264,322.84. For a year result, a net year result of a negative $112,762.12. Rationale for that being a negative number. Also, we are processing particular accounts. The WIA account, we should be receiving in the near future $37,475 into that account. But in that revenue, the nurses grant will also provide $54,908. And also the CADA will be receiving $878 into that account for revenue. So once those numbers have been accumulated, we should be receiving approximately $117,162 of revenue into those accounts. Looking at it, adding that numbers into it, we should be into a positive status by the end of the year, once those funds have been released and accounted for in our revenue stream. $4,399.88. So overall, with some work that's still to be done before the year is out, we should finish the year in a good scenario. Any other questions?
I do have Mr. Chair, I do have a comment. I do have a concern with the procedures and the processes in the finance office. In processing, your POs in a timely manner. We've had some companies to sit back or let go of our orders because they didn't get the POs in a timely manner. So that needs to be looked at. And also we need to look, do we have a P card law or credit cards right now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so all credit cards are checked in and out on that P card
That is correct.
law?
That is correct.
Okay, and who checks that? And who's the
I
keeper of that?
sign the credit cards out, and whenever someone gets a credit card, they sign it out.
Mhm.
And when they bring it back, they sign it back in.
Okay, but is there a log that's kept?
Yes,
that-
in my
what-
desk.
No, what?
I'm sorry.
Of the expenditure, so you can keep up with who's spending what and how. How is that kept?
That is based on the POs, or sometimes it's check requests that they have to generate who is spending from the account.
Mhm.
And that is either checked against the credit card receipt,
Okay,
as well as the credit card from First Citizens when they send out the statement. And those numbers are matched up to make sure that they are what they say they're supposed to be.
thank you. We're supposed to be getting a new handbook for finance. How is that coming along? An updated financial handbook for our policies and procedures.
That is my first time hearing that. I'm sorry, but I can work on getting that for you.
Okay, Ms. Ross would know about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any question for Mr. Evans? Thank you,
No.
Mr. Evans.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good holiday.
Thank
you.
And now we have federal programs by Dr. Janet Robertson.
Good evening, board chair, vice board chair. I won't be before you long. You do have my PowerPoint in your board packet. I just want to point out some specifics to clarify. Mr. Edwards said it was a question about pre-K. Pre-K is IDEA, and that's monitored and managed by the EC director. So because she knows the students and the number of students in that particular program, that's who manages the pre-K funding. And we all have access to CCIP, so we all see what happens and how it comes down. But as far as budgeting that piece, that is the EC director. I just want to clarify that before we start. Just a couple of updates with we're still in ESSER 2, and ESSER 2 will end in 2023. We're right now, we still have an unencumbered amount of $556,000, $549,66. So we still have that amount still unencumbered. And additional plans are in the works to complete unfinished HVAC or HVAC jobs at elementary school. So hopefully we will have that particular fund it's been by September 23. I know that we will. ESSER 3 is what I call the big one, because we're working on in that funding right now. At this point, we still have an unencumbered amount, $3 million, a little over $3 million. And that ESSER 3 committee, we did meet this past week to discuss how we going to really spend this money with integrity. And so we were able to come together and come into an agreement about how we're going to do that as a team to make sure that we're doing it in accordance to the federal guidelines. So one thing we were able to do, and this is after I did this, but one thing we were able to do, we're able to get the activity buses approved for NCDPI. So we're going to be able to purchase 2 activity buses. And I know I won't take Mr. Futrell's, would take his thunder away from him right now, but we were able to get that. And the committee, we worked on it, we wrote the email, we sent it, and we got approved at NCDPI. So we were worried that it wouldn't get approved because it's a big expense. And we had to make it align with ESSER. So we got it aligned with ESSER, we needed it, and we did align, and we got it approved. So that's the big thing. Of course, everyone has their bonuses now, they've hit their account, so we're able to get everyone in the district their staff bonuses, which are already pre-approved. There are other allotments that are included that we were looking at that would support the academic initiatives in each school and student services. And then there are also some additional school and building repairs and upgrades throughout the district that we're looking at to use ESSER 3 for. One thing I also want to clarify is there are so many different moving parts with federal programs. Like sometimes Mr. Edwards will see something happening on his side and or not see something happening on his side because it has to come through CCIP and come down through LBAS, which is the 2 instruments that speak to each other as far as budgeting those allotments are concerned. And I have to push them out, and then he gets that side of it, and then he allots the money accordingly. We're trying to make sure that there's a process in place that you won't see those negatives that you're seeing, because that money has to come from DPI through me to him, and it's a process. So I have to wait. It's a waiting game. So before we start spending money, before we get it, we try not to spend money before we get it. We try to wait till, but sometimes we have to spend it because we have purchase orders that are out there that we need to take care of. So Title I update, not all the schools that have all their budgets, they have, some schools have more budgets than others, but the big one for all schools is Title I. And it's steadily changing and moving. So I want to, every time we, every month, I'm going to give you guys the Title I update because they are spending the money. Shout out to the middle school, the high school at Arbeck. They are using that money to bring in a speaker on January 3rd. So they're using that money, and Shout out to elementary school, she sent over a PO today that was already approved, and we're gonna go ahead and purchase whatever she wanted, and they're using that Title I fund, so they're understanding how to use it appropriately. All schools had to submit their school improvement plan, which is called a student success plan, on December 9th. So it was all submitted on or before December 9th. Every school. And to that point, I know Ms. Robinson asked me to check on Arvet. Arvet is recognized as a Title I school. So we got that clarification. So he was able, I've been working with Mr. Pullen. He was able to get his stuff in on time and update his information, and just working with him to get it done. So thank you for that. Because that would have came out later on, and we try to run back to catch up. Those are additional federal monies, but I want to point out is PRC 105, which is for the elementary school, because they're a CSI school. We did get approved for $164,000, and PRC 189 also for the elementary schools, which is for math remediation. It's a math budget, a math grant, and they were able to get $15,000 for that as well. We just got approved for that yesterday or this week. Other PRCs for beginning teacher support, we've already started using that because we are using EQ to support our beginning teachers. And the STEM and PBL professional development is allotted to different schools. So in our next principals meeting, we're going to talk about how we can best use those funds to push our STEM and PBL initiatives in the schools. And like I said before, all the school improvement plans have been updated. Of course, we're always gonna be working on those school improvement plans, because as we are finishing those, we're also doing our district school improvement plan, which is Cognia. We up for accreditation, so I know that Dr. Parker may address that, but in order for it to be done with integrity, our school improvement plans for each school have to be up to date, which is an ongoing process. I do meet with the principals monthly, but I also will meet with the principals as needed. Right now, I want them to get an understanding of Title I, because it's not just a pot of money out there that we can spend, because it is tied to federal dollars, and that's why it's so important for them to do the school improvement plan, because the school improvement plan, it suggests what we need to do in order to improve schools, and we're gonna get money for that. So I talked to them about how it has to be, when they're using the money, it has to be allowable, reasonable, and necessary. And I think after they realized what Title I was for, they were able to submit things and submit suggestions of things that they want. And I'm going to continue my one-on-one support of the principals. I think one of the things that kind of work in my favor is because I was a principal at one time, and it does help to know that certain things they do need, and having a curriculum background helps too. So it puts me in a more comfort sometimes to understand what's happening and being able to convey to them what needs to happen as well. Any questions?
I have two questions. Dr. Brown.
Okay.
All right, the first one is ESSER 3 funding. And I know I've been asking for textbooks for the longest. Are textbooks included in purchasing or spending some of that money?
We have not talked about textbooks in ESSER, but we have talked about textbooks in Title I. But we can look at ESSER 3 because it's such a part of money, it's such a huge part of money. And I know that we have, under the budget details, we did talk about some academic supports, which textbooks could fall under academic support. So that's a good suggestion. Because like I said, it's a lot of money to try to spend. We do have time to spend it, but 2024 is going to be here. So
2023. That's fine. Okay.
ESSER 3 is 2024.
Okay,
So we got time.
all right. And my second question was,
Oh,
Right.
Dr. Carmen is going to just, we do have textbooks.
okay. All right, and the second question is Title I. Are we able to create positions, a teacher, out of Title I funding?
So that's what the principals are talking about right now. Okay.
Looking at the pot of money and they submitted their wish list, and one of the things that, a couple of the things they had were TAs, teachers, assistants and teachers. So depending on, I know the elementary school is in good standing for that. I'm not real sure about, middle school because right now we're waiting for that restart money. And to Mr. Edwards' point, that restart money is gonna offset a lot of the funding. That's why it's kind of hard to say this is what each school has exactly, because we're still waiting for that restart to drop. Because once restart drops, the money for each school, the allotment is going to change. So to answer your question, we've been talking about it, we're making plans for it. They're supposed to write proposals for the different positions that they want and present them to Dr. Williams once it's finished.
Another question? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Roberts.
Guys have a good holiday.
Good now. Now we are our curriculum instruction by Dr. Wendy Carpenter.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm going to present the instructional report for the month of December. As far as testing dates, updates, December 13th through December 19th is our testing window. Weldon High School students are completing their end of course assessment, EOCs for Math 3, English 2, and Biology. Students are also completing their teacher-made final exams at the high school and at the early college if they are in non-EOC semester courses. For all year-long courses, students are completing benchmark assessments. Monday, December 19th is the last day of testing, and also it's a makeup day for our EOC assessment. January 3rd is going to be our CNI Data Dive Day. The CNI team, the Curriculum and Instruction Department, will be analyzing testing data on that day. The CNI team works with all teachers with a focus on English and math. However, if the data shows that we need to provide more support, if needed in math, for example, than English, then we will put forth more effort and emphasis on math. However, the results of the data, of course, will inform our next steps as it relates to teaching and learning. Any questions about that? Okay. Curriculum and instruction updates. I want to remind everyone that January 10th is our Cognia accreditation review, our candidacy review. It's not the actual accreditation. I just want to remind everyone that the district leadership team, as well as our principals, teachers, students, and parents, will be participating in this review. Most of those stakeholders have already completed surveys. I want to remind our community, our parents, that we still have the link for completing the Cognia surveys on our website. So please do so if you have not done so as of tonight. And so they'll be also participating in focus groups, and the Cognia review team will also be taking tours with our principals on that day as well. Results from the review will be shared once feedback is received from the Cognia team. Any questions about that? Okay. That's all I have. Thank you so much and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. Now we'll have a report from the EC and pre-K program.
Services now.
So student support service operator. Here's our expense.
Good evening, board chair, board members, Superintendent Dr. Williams. Slide, please. A few updates from, updates from student services. Under Career and College Ready, as you know, scholarships are now beginning to open for our high school students. In particular, the Ethel Crawley Scholarship is now available. High school seniors should see their school counselor for more information to submit their scholarships online by February 7th, 2023. And they have that information that is a full ride scholarship that I know is always a very popular scholarship for our students and is for Halifax County resident. Also, the North Carolina State Employees Credit Union scholarship goes live for Weldon on January 4th, 2023, with all applications submitted by March 1st. This also is a scholarship only available to graduating public high school seniors who are either current members of the State Employees Credit Union or a child of a parent or guardian who is a member of the State Employees Credit Union with a 2.5 GPA and attending one of the 16 UNC system schools. And this is a scholarship for $10,000, which is awarded $2,500 each year for students. And so those are two extraordinary scholarship opportunities for our high school seniors. Also, the North Carolina Governor's School is a 4-week summer residential program for gifted and talented high school students. This year, Ms. Plum, our AIG coordinator, shared this information with our schools, and we have students who have expressed interest to attend the North Carolina Governor's School this year. And our nomination selection committee, along with led by Ms. Plum, is actually going to be submitting those applications by the deadline tomorrow. In the social emotional area, during our November early release day, staff from Weldon City Schools were provided opportunity to learn more about SEL with a session provided by our middle school counselor, Ms. Pitts, our high school counselor, Ms. Hudson, and our MTSS AIG coordinator, Ms. Plum. Also on next Wednesday, in addition to some required modules that staff are required to participate in for mental health, there will be some optional sessions that are being made available by a familiar facilitator who has provided some self-care techniques for staff. These will be virtual sessions that our staff can log into at a designated time, but we also want to make this available specific sessions for our students to learn about how to identify when they need to reach out for more help and just to learn how to take care of themselves during what can be very stressful times in their own lives, as well as our parents. We want to offer a session for our parents during this day, which will also be virtual, to ensure they have opportunity to learn how to manage their stress that comes from their daily lives, especially now. It can be very difficult during the holiday season. So, we want to keep it a celebratory time, but sometimes it can also bring about undue stress. And so these sessions are being offered by Mr. Kenneth Joyner, a licensed clinical social worker who has already begun to work with staff earlier in the year, so they're familiar with him, and kind of got some really good reviews back on what he had to share. As far as WIOA, continue to meet program standards goals around youth employment and credentialing. Our coordinator continues to work jointly with Ms. Smith, our CIS coordinator, around parent involvement night, and Ms. Davis on a career day. That is all the highlights I have to share from student services. Y'all have questions?
Yes, with your mental health day next week, is there a link that will be sent out? Because we got the flyer, but there was not a link.
Yeah, so
attached.
with that flyer, there should have been a link right above that.
No link.
Okay. I got the link on mine in my email, but I work with Mr. Stevens, and that will be sent out again to remind them, because that is something we want to keep in front of people leading up to that day, and we hope to see everyone there to participate. Okay. Yeah, but it is a Zoom link. That is, make sure that it'll be in that email. Yes.
I know, you touched on several times about it, but I want to know, where are we at for a resource officer for all our students? Where are we at with that? You said it happened.
Yeah, so as you know, we have Sergeant Vaughn at the high school and Deputy Green at the middle school. And I believe this Dr. Williams wants to speak to your work with Sheriff.
And speaking with Sheriff Davis, they've interviewed individuals for the for the elementary schools, SRO, and they're yet to secure an SRO. I don't know where they are in the process, but I know the interviewing process has happened. The hiring process now, I guess, is taking place, but they've not finalized a candidate for us yet. But it's in the makings, it's in the authority and auspices of Sheriff Davis. Like that.
Another question.
Yes. What was the cost for the speaker that you said we have?
He is providing 3 sessions for $2,500.
Is it? It's type of link on Zoom.
Yes.
On Facebook, but it wasn't on the thing, the email that I got. I wasn't able to put it up, but I'm glad it's out there because I did see it on Facebook.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Okay, next we have EC and pre-K program.
Good evening, board members. From the Exceptional Children's Program, I have the December 1st head count information. But first, just to provide some information on the reporting, the December 1 head count is an unduplicated count of all children with disabilities. The following chart identifies the timeline, reporting viewed in the electronic or web-based system where data are maintained. The child count data are North Carolina's counts of children ages 3 through 21, grouped by ages 3 to 5, and 6 to 21 receiving special education and related services under IDEA Part B on December 1 of each year. From the chart, to define exceptionality, children with disabilities who receive special education and related services according to an individualized education plan, IEP, or service plan. The first column indicates the timeline, which is annually. The December 1 head count drives federal funds. The April 1 head count drives state funds. ECATS, the acronym, stands for Every Child Accountability Tracking System Supports Student Information. From this side, we see that head count was reported at 100%, meaning that we have 96 children with active IEPs in the district. That's up from the previous count last month of 82, as meetings took place and IEPs were finalized in ECATS. Awaiting eligibility are the students that are referred to the EC program for testing, currently 4 children. So the active EC plus children who are in the referral process brings us to 100, but that number is subject to change. So in North Carolina, we have 14 disabling conditions that we use for eligibility with IEPs. Those conditions, as you can see, are autism, which we have 7 children in the district, deaf blindness 0, deafness 0, developmental delay 3 children, emotional disturbance 0, hearing impairment 2, intellectually disabled 29, multiple disabilities 1, orthopedic impairment 0, other health impairment 8, specific learning disability 30, speech or language impairment 16, traumatic brain injury 0, and visual impairment, including blindness 0. These disabilities represent our 96 children on head count, which again was reported for December 1st at 100%. Do you have any questions?
No question?
How many students do we have that are receiving PT? Okay, so for physical therapy, we have 6. Speech therapy is 28. Occupational therapy is 19, and vision is 1. I'm currently searching for someone to do service delivery for our hearing impaired. As you can see, we have 2 children that need those services. Contact the DPI for their support. I have, and I've reached out to area speech therapists and organizations here to try to find support for those hearing impaired children.
All right, further question? Okay, then, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Child nutrition.
For child nutrition, Ms. Emmons led a mandatory meeting with all managers early this week, just to retrain on some program requirements and essentials to ensure we are kept in compliance with that program. Some of the items that we reminded, or Ms. Emmons reminded child nutrition managers on was production records, the menu, cooking time, serving line, snacks, and cash handling. Were the topics for that training that she led with the cafeteria managers. Also on last month, I shared with you that we were certainly trying to address staffing. We have 3 candidates being interviewed next week, which we hope to fill a vacancy in our child nutrition department. They'll be housed at Wegger, but certainly they'll be able to train. We want to train them to work at each school to fill in wherever there might be a need on any given day, which is really would support that department for efficiency. Okay, so that's child nutrition.
Any question? Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Transportation.
You can do transportation. Okay.
Yeah, as Dr. Robinson mentioned earlier, we're super excited that the ESSER request was approved by the regional consultant. That came with a lot of thanks guidance from Attorney Weber. We met with him after our last meeting and to talk about the process and what that looks like. But then also just collaboration between Dr. Robinson, Mr. Freeman, and of course support from Superintendent, you all as a board to make that happen. We're now going to get 2 new activity buses. The invitation for bids will be posted live tomorrow. They have already been sent to our minority hub of businesses, which is required spending state money. They had to be done 2 days prior to the actual posting with the guidance from the attorney. And so it'll go live now to our own website on tomorrow. And the timeline for that will be, of course, on that invitation for bid. But we are looking at bringing back before you at your January board meeting a recommendation for that. It's in those bids.
Mr. Futrell,
Yes.
are y'all able to get the backup cameras on the bus?
Yes, sir. On the invitation for bid, we did ensure that backup cameras were included. And also as part of our branding and marketing that we really want to show, we're going to try to make sure it looks really nice. And when people see these activity buses coming down the road, they know it's Weldon City Schools. So.
All right, any question? Facilities also.
Yes. Okay. So as you know, during the Thanksgiving break, I spoke to you all about how we were going to go that the power was going to go down at the gym as they worked on the HVAC projects. That went down, it came back up. There were no known issues in terms of bringing the power back up and everything. Outside of that, when we came back from Thanksgiving break, we did our boiler pump, the heating system at the gym, did go out and it got back, we got it back working. The technicians came out and, Mr. Davis and his crew and got that pump back going, but I can tell you all, it's crossing our fingers to hope that thing lasts until this new HVAC system gets up and going, hopefully by end of February or March. Because it's every day, it's day by day with that, with the boiler pump right now at the high school. And we're just keeping that in mind, considering that anytime it goes down, we're gonna have to, make some adjustments to how we're using that facility. If it goes down, it can't come back up. With working on it. Also, change orders are being produced by our engineers from Progressive Design Consultant for the Weldon Elementary project to ensure that all rooms will be fully conditioned upon that project completion. The initial design had 4 rooms not being fully conditioned, but you do want to make sure that when this project is completed, every room over there is going to be fully conditioned with heat and air. This will be brought before the board in January, once our engineers have gotten a change order to me for your approval. With our initial meeting with the engineers, this will likely be an additional $25,000 to $35,000. I've already been talking with Dr. Robinson about this, as this will hopefully tie in right with our the current project as a raising our contingency to ensure that that can take place and be approved at our January meeting as well. So it's one of these prepare you for that may be coming. Well, will be coming.
And start the question.
Yes.
Have you seen that gym yard up there lately? What are we, can we do with that? That is terrible, I think.
The gym yard.
Up there where the gym at, Brandon, where you park at, everything, I know they've been working. So are we going to fix it, or what we're gonna do with that round and with all them holes and stuff around?
Yeah, where they've been bringing trucks and cranes and that side
That's
of
what I
the-
know, but I'm
Yeah.
saying, we going to do something for us fixing the yard, or we're gonna do that when they finish working up there?
It would likely be best to let them finish all the work as they bring, equipment and things they need. For the most part, most of it's been done, but it's probably be part of the closeout of the project to make sure that that is brought back smooth, holes have been filled in. It's been drug back smooth, for parking, yes. But that is something,
When was it dragged?
it will need to be, that'll be part of
But
the.
I thought you said that.
Oh, no, it has not been yet. No, ma'am. Because so many of those equipment has probably it has just torn up that area. The work zone, absolutely.
The first question. Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Right.
Now we have school health, Mr. Isaac Miller.
Board, Chair, Vice Chair, and Superintendent. In our COVID-19 testing program, we have a district-wide total of 242 participants, 4 at Central, 14 at the early college, 139. We just had 3 students added to the program at the elementary school, and at the high school, we have an additional staff member. And at the middle school, we have 44 total participants. Positive cases as of December for students. We haven't had any for December, and the last case was October 31st. And positive cases as of December for staff. We just have 1 additional at the elementary school, and that last case was December 5th. Any questions?
Board members, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays and happy New Year as well.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have charge of academic information, Mr. Hahn.
Good evening. The board chair. Board assistant, board members. Dr. Williams, superintendent, and colleagues, community. Come, before you today to introduce you to the, new initiative of, Wellness City School Charter Academy. As you can see, the Charter Academy will be an alternative learning program that we are starting up. We have a mission. Our mission will be to provide a flexible, inclusive, and engaging environment for students to be most successful in pursuit of graduation. We believe in providing all students opportunities to reach their individual goals. So students who will be potentially served, that we will be serving, we'll be starting off grades 6 through 12. Any of our general ed students, as well as our special ed students, students that may be deemed at risk of dropping out of high school or having issues at their regular school base. So those students that may be having issues or have been through the tiers of the MTSS process, or students that have been deemed for long-term suspension of more than 11 days. So interest of the program, we're looking to, we have an application process that we will be putting in place, where we meet with the leadership team from each school base, the principal, the counselor, as well as the teachers, parents, and we do an assessment to see what the student needs in order for that particular child to be successful throughout the program. We'll be looking at the students' attendance records, look at his current schedule, current grades, talk with the teachers, see what type of input we get from the teacher. Looking at additional reports and any suspension reports, and whether they have any type of IEPs or 504s that have already been produced. Take that information and we will produce a academic plan in order for that student to use during the time while they're at the Charter Academy. Our daily operation will be between the hours of 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. We will be serving the students breakfast as well as lunch. We will be providing transportation for the students, and that will be discussed during the intake process, whether the students will need transportation provided by the school or not. I also want the students to be, students will have to also be abided by the Wellness City Schools bus conduct policy. It must be consistent as far as riding the bus so that we can continue to make sure that we have, they have the privilege to ride the bus. As far as student behavior, we will expect anything less than exemplary behavior while they're in the program, and we will be following the Wellness City Schools code of conduct. As far as the students' course load, middle school students, they will mainly be focusing on their 4 core subjects, which is math, science, social studies, and language arts.
We will also make sure we will be in constant collaboration with their school-based teachers. And whatever type of learning management system that they'll be using for them to be able to get their assignments. High school students, they will be on a much more individual basis, depending upon what their schedule look like as far as what courses they'll be taking for that particular semester. Ultimately, we want the kids to be successful, to be able to get back to their, work their ways towards back to their school base before the, either during the end of the semester or by the end of the school year, or give them that opportunity to be able to work themselves back to their regular school. With the high school students, and they're in, it will, well, both programs will be a technology-driven type of learning. So with, along with the LMS, with the high school, they'll be using programs like Edgenuity and some other software programs. By us being based here on the high school campus, we'll still be able to have a little bit more direct line of with those students, teachers, making sure that they need what they're getting what they need to be successful. We want to have the counselors to also come in to the program to talk with the kids so that they can be working with them on life skills, steady building their human relation skills, and setting their goals. Even though they're at their home base, they may be taken from their home base, but we would be taking daily attendance so that, but they will not be counted absent from the home base. Attendance will be given back to their home base data managers so that those students will not be counted absent during the time that they're at the Charger Academy. Same thing as with the grades. We will be in constant communication with their home base and reporting their grades for all the work that they will complete while they're in the academy. Any questions?
Question? Okay, then. Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have 10A for the discussion with EC position.
I just need something to be made. I just need something.
Okay, we'll call for a 2-minute break then.
We don't have to. I'm good. I
You
just
can't get
need
something to
something.
drink if you don't get it.
Just get up and get it. We don't have to break.
Okay, then we'll go ahead with 10A. Ms. Hale for EC position.
I want to bring up about the EC positions because as I was mentioning, I started talking to the board about this in closed session, but it's an open session item. But the need for additional resources and additional help at the middle school is needed down there. We only have, and not just the middle school, but I see it there because I visit there most often. But our kids have dealt with a lot, especially since COVID, and there has been a lot of learning loss during the COVID era and after. Even right now, we have our kids with a lot of learning loss. And I know beforehand we used to have resource teachers or occupational teachers that were servicing the EC population. Right now, we only have general ed and self-contained. And those students that are in between, we're kind of losing them. So I'm coming to the board to ask if we could have or add additional teachers to our roster to help these individuals so that we can service the whole child, not just the ones that are regular ed or not just the ones that are self-contained. We should, and we're a district and we're looking at servicing the whole child. That's what I would like to see happen.
And one of the things that we are looking at doing is having conversations with the principals in conjunction with Ms. Robinson's sharing out of Title I.
And I was gonna say that too, kind of, a lot of my questions were answered during the presentations. And I looked at Dr. Williams, because he, but a lot of my questions weren't answered, and if she's already gone to the principals and they've written down their desire, then I'll just leave it at that, but that is what the EC positions and everything was about. Secondly, same thing, the instructional facilitators, we hired 2 instructional facilitators for the district. And currently, right now, we only have an instructional facilitator serving, well, we hired 2, one for ELA and one for math. Currently, right now, we have the ELA one servicing the elementary school, and we have the math servicing the high school. The middle school still don't have anyone servicing that location. So a lot of those kids were in elementary school when this COVID thing started. And they have a lot of learning loss at that location. And I would like to have some additional assistance and resources put at that middle school. Which will also go into the Title I funding and all that. So it may already be asked for, but I just wanted to make mention.
And according to Dr. Carpenter's report, currently, Ms. Broadnax is serving, or there's a person, she is serving at both the elementary and middle school for both ELA and math. And another of the instructional coaches is serving at the high school and at Arbery. And once we do the January reporting out and look at the data dive, we'll see exactly how much of one thing over another is needed, if not both. And if both, then we still will have the conversation with Dr. Robinson and principals to see with the funding that you have in Title I, please consider using that for some additional instructional assistance for children, because these instructional coaches are coaching teachers, not students.
I understand.
But if it's a direct need for students, then we would encourage our principals to use their Title I funds to hire a person to directly affect student
Well, the
learning.
additional teachers definitely would directly affect the students.
Correct. So we'll look at that.
Do we have, I don't know if it was up here, I went back to pull it to see if we have what our numbers look like for resource students at the, since Ms. Hale brought it up, the elementary and the middle school. Do we have enough students to warrant another special ed teacher, exception children teacher? That's a question for Ms.
Ms. Fields, at the middle school or elementary school, do we have enough resource students that would want an additional resource teacher? Is the question.
Well, right now, we have 1 resource teacher at the middle school, and we do need another one would be helpful. And also an instructional coach for EC children, that would be helpful, as well as the hearing impaired specialist.
No, my question is, do we have enough students already in the middle school that have IEPs? Do we have enough there to warrant another resource teacher? If not, then I was gonna say, Dr. Williams, if we could look at funding, that would be great. But I mean, if we have enough to fund it from, from AC, then that's even better. But if we don't, then look at another funding source.
We got a small population, but the eligibility, that's where the need is in the individuals.
So does the state provide, based on the numbers that we have and the needs, does the state give us an additional position, or is it something that Dr. Williams need to look at and bring back to us as far as funding and where he can hire another teacher from?
Right, that is something we have to investigate.
So we'll have that conversation, Ms. Barrett Robinson, and I will share that out with the board once we know what the need is and where the funds can, whether EC has enough funding for it. And if not, where can we get the funds from to provide for additional supports for our EC children.
And not just the middle school, but all the schools,
All of it,
because once the
yes.
data drive is done, then we'll be able to tell from every school at that time.
Right, like looking at eligibility, depending on where those children are being served. Like there are parts in Bunny for autism, you could hire an instructional coach based, working primarily with our autistic population at all 3 schools. That's what I attend. So that's another option.
That was it. I wondered all of it, but my questions were really answered. So,
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, Dr. Winfrey, we have anyone for public forum?
There was one signed up, but is not present.
All right, then, agenda was removed. And now we'll need a motion to go back into closed session.
I do have a couple of things I need to share with you, just information for you. You should have in your packet, information from Ratio, which is the architect for our new 612 building. It's only for your preview to read over with a request from Hal, the architectural person, and Rod Malone to have a special call meeting on January the 4th to discuss this, because it has to be approved by the board before we go further. So it's only for your information now, with a request from Hal and Rod for a special call meeting on January the 4th, if possible, for you to approve.
Yeah, time that we.
The fee proposal. They did not give me a time. We'll work around you all's schedule. I would propose maybe 5 or something of that nature, late afternoon, or early evening. So that's just there for your, for you to look over and read over. With any questions, these 2 gentlemen will be here on that date to respond. But we do need to approve this, the schedule, the proposal fee, the proposal schedule for that, on that day. Additionally, just want to highlight that we are, to board members, the public, anyone, we're welcoming you to attend our Weldon City Schools Showcase, which will be next Monday at 5 p.m. at Halifax Community College in room 401. Here's an opportunity that we'll be showcasing all the good things we're doing here in Weldon City Schools to draw back many of our students and parents that have left us and gone elsewhere. So each school will be presenting and having a table. Each department at Central Services will have a table to project. We're hoping to have a model of one of those new buses that we can showcase that we are doing. We're hoping to have a model of even the school 612 building. It may not be exactly what it will be, but something to show that these are exciting times and these are things that we are trying to do here in Weldon City Schools. Next Monday at 5 p.m., Halifax Community College at 5 p.m., room 401. And finally, we will have here at the Weldon High School, yes,
Is it 5:30 or 5?
5:30, whatever it is on there.
Okay.
We'll be at 5. We have to be here at 5, so 5:30. Weldon High School will be celebrating a fall graduation for a few of our students. It's also on Monday at 4 p.m. right here at Weldon High School. We want to celebrate them. They also will be invited back to the spring graduation with their peers. But we want to celebrate them at this juncture of their academic career in Weldon City Schools, specifically at Weldon High School. We will celebrate them at 4 o'clock. If you're able to come, please come. Let us celebrate these young people and encourage them and bid them God's blessings on their way to the next step in their next journey in their lives. Monday at 4 o'clock.
How many do you have? Roughly.
There are 3 currently, but we're working on 2 additions, so it may be 5. We just want to celebrate these young people, and we want to say thank you to Mr. Hopkins, principal, for working along with them to make this happen.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. It'll be here in the meeting? Yes, sir. Be right here.
Okay, can we set a time for January 4th?
So I guess we have to figure out the people that are coming, what time? Or do we need to go ahead and
You
give
set
them
a
a time?
time. They got the date that they can.
Number 4?
4 o'clock is fine.
4 o'clock.
It's on
To
Tuesday,
get a consensus of the board, I think it's
It's on Wednesday.
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 It's a Wednesday. Okay.
No, actually, whatever it is on a Thursday. If I said 4, I
That's the
apologize.
5th.
So that's-
It's that first Thursday.
Okay.
First Thursday, so I apologize for the date. But it's a Thursday, first Thursday.
Okay,
in
so
January.
consensus over time. Could we do 5:30 so it'd be consistent with the time we've been meeting on the second, third, Thursday at 5:30?
That's fine. And. That's fine.
Yes, 5:30 is good for me.
Very, well,
I'll have to check my calendar, but we have the majority, so. We'll go ahead with it.
Ms. Kim,
I'm good.
It's in their calendar now.
Ms. Jenkins,
I'm good.
okay, Brother Si,
I do have something early, would be better with me, but and then if you have the majority, you just have.
okay, and we had a majority, then we'll go with 5:30.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
while we're talking about that, and I know it's not up here, but I would also like to bring that back into the scheme of things with our board meetings, because we're used to meeting on the second and third Thursday of every month. And to have it set aside already, so there won't be a problem with us coming up with a date. We already know that we have a date already scheduled for us to meet.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Hill. We do have a second, third Thursday where it has been, and we need to have a meeting. We did it on the second Thursday.
Mm.
And then we had the board meeting
On the
on the third, so we can go to that schedule.
third.
So, because you know ahead of time,
Yeah, exactly.
and
If something
it shouldn't be a
comes up, we had it
conflict.
already.
you should be already obligating those days, for the school board.
They said the 5th.
Bill,
Yes, and I apologize for the 4. Also, while I'm speaking about ratio, there will be a repetition of meetings monthly now ongoing. After this meeting, there will be, the next meeting will be for the community stakeholders to come and be a part. So there'll be a lot more discussions going on. So it'll be just plan on monthly meetings from here on in with ratio.
So we'll just stop on that second
Second
Thursday.
Thursday.
yeah. second Thursday.
At
Except
5:30.
Except for January, for January will be the first Thursday.
Okay, so now we get a motion to go back into closed session.
I make a motion to go back into closed session.
Been motion by Ms. Hill and second by Ms. Barry Robinson to go back into closed session and question. Okay, then we'll go back into closed session next day. Okay, well, I want to thank the public for coming, stakeholders, gatekeepers, and everyone else. We want to thank you for coming. We're gonna ask that if you step outside the library in the lobby.
You didn't carry that motion.
I said, standing, because everyone consented, so it's understood. But
I thought that it was motion and second.
it was.
Oh,
And
I
then there
didn't
was,
ask for the question. I apologize.
okay, all right, question.
Yeah, I heard you say question, but I didn't hear you ask for the vote.
I
That's what
didn't
I'm
ask for
saying.
the vote, because everyone was in compliance when they didn't want to have any question. It's understood that they were. compliant.
Oh, okay.
So I
All right.
said, but we'll go, everyone in favor? Yay,
Of the 5:30 on the, no.
No, go back.
Okay.
Yes.
show of hands.
And for clarity, that's for the purposes stated at the beginning of the meeting, the original purposes.
Yes, sir. Okay, that, as have, we will go into closed session. As I was saying, to our members, you can go out in the lobby and wait until we come back in. Y'all don't have to shake the head. But, and then we'll reconvene into open session to discuss what's done in, closed session. So I thank you all for coming.